Hi folks, this is your NWIS Planning Outlook with the details into the weekend and the long-range thoughts into July. Quite a complicated and uncertain story as we move toward the weekend, with humid southwesterly winds that will prevail. On Wednesday we have a weak frontal system passing west to east across Scotland, and that giving some rain, some drizzle and low cloud across Western Hills in particular during the morning. That then developing into some showers as we get through mid to late morning into the middle of the day, and those showers running eastwards across the Highlands giving some heavy bursts in places, the risk of some localised thunder and lightning, particularly across more eastern areas later on in the afternoon. For England and Wales, also a few showers passing from west to east during the day, all generally improving from the west with some brighter skies and lifting cloud bases as we go onwards through the afternoon. Showers toward the evening really just confined toward the far northeast of Scotland. By Thursday, higher pressure is over the country, so a lower risk of showers, but a risk of one or two just developing as we go through into the afternoon, and can't rule out the odd heavy one, even a thundery burst in places. A bright day overall, though, cloud mostly above the hills, away from any of those isolated showers, with some sunshine best around the western coasts as you go through the afternoon into the evening. On Friday, we have fronts moving in from the Atlantic on strengthening southwesterly winds, which will be up to gale force, 40 or even 50 miles per hour possible around some western coastal summits during the daytime on Friday, so do be aware of those strong wind speeds. Rain, drizzle and low cloud also spilling in from the southwest. Wettest conditions look to be focused around southwestern parts in Scotland, but that rain and drizzle could become quite persistent for the Lake District and West Wales as well. Also up towards Skye and Torridon, that rain fairly persistent. Further north and east across the Highlands, generally drier with a bit of patchy rain coming through from time to time, and higher cloud bases to the north of the Cairngorms and in the far north of the Northwest Highlands. Milder air is sweeping in, quite a humid feel to things then later in the day on Friday. Those southwesterly winds then really set the scene into the weekend. And I'm just going to roll this sequence through because there is much uncertainty in exactly how the day-to-day sequence pans out through into this weekend, all generally driven by low pressure which is centred out toward the northwest of us, and that pushing some further fronts in from the Atlantic on southwesterly winds through on Saturday, giving the risk of some patchy rain and drizzle and low cloud around many of the western hills. Drier and brighter the further to the east that you go, and for many places in England and Wales away from the west coast it should be a bright day, feeling very warm across all areas and rather humid as well. Now later on Saturday there's the risk of some heavier and even thundery rain coming in from the west, and that may well run across the Highlands as we go into Saturday night. A lot of uncertainty with that one, but the risk of some thunderstorms as we go through Saturday night into early Sunday, associated with a rather tangled, complex series of fronts that will be around at this stage. It could lead to some thundery rain into Sunday daytime. There is a lot to play for in that detail, so keep an eye on the forecasts. Basically, it's a rather unsettled look to things as we go into the weekend, generally driven by an Atlantic southwesterly airflow. Late on Sunday, fresher air will try and come in, so temperatures will start to lower later in the day, and as we head through into the start of next week, temperatures do just look that little bit fresher, at least for a time. Complexities over the weekend will lead us into a rather complicated week ahead as well. It looks to be that low pressure toward the north will hold sway, with higher pressure away toward the south, at least early in the week ahead. That will drive west or southwesterly winds through, so rather changeable mixed conditions with some rain at times, some showers, maybe an odd thundery shower in there at times. Temperatures generally cooler than recently and a bit more on the breezy side as well. Western and northwestern Scotland typically faring the worst for the coolest, the wettest and the cloudiest conditions. Drier and brighter further east and further south across the country. Taking things further forwards into early July, and this is the modelled pressure patterns as we go through the 7-day period through till the 10th. High pressure would be across Eastern Europe, lower pressure is nearer to us and out toward the west. Now, we've been looking for the potential for some quite hot weather being drawn up from the south around the change of the month and early July. That signal is still very much there across Central and Western Europe. It could well be a glancing blow at least of some very hot weather that gets drawn into Britain, but always on the cusp of destabilisation stabilising with lower pressure getting back in, humidity building and some thunderstorms in there as well. So that could well soon go back to being rather unsettled if that pattern is coming in from the Atlantic with fresher air and following any hot weather that does develop. So I think all in all, still a rather unsettled and mixed pattern as we go into the start of July is to be expected from a chart like that. A long way off, but the signals further ahead are looking a little bit more promising, with the idea of high pressure then starting to build further toward the north, lower pressure becoming cut off away toward the south across Spain and Portugal, and that may allow some drier and warmer conditions back in more broadly across Britain, and east or southeasterly airflow perhaps getting back in familiar in recent weeks, so that could be good news for western and northern Scotland. We shall see how that develops, much to play for in the short term in terms of just how all these patterns do play out. All your local details for 3 days ahead can be found as always on our website. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.